Real people, real problems, real life solutions. Investigate TV Plus.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
Our own Hallie Turner sat down with Thompson Mayor Benji Cranford for an interview. We will hear more from Hallie and the mayor coming up. But first, a federal hate crime trial is set for Tuesday for a man charged in the 2019 killing of a transgender woman in Allendale County. Wrdw is the suspect in the murder of a transgender woman, Wrdw, the one seen right there on your screen. The hate crime count against Wrdw carries a maximum penalty of life in prison. The U.S. Attorney's Office said they are trying to create a bigger presence and let people know that they are in the more rural areas of South Carolina as well.
And we will be following that trial as it happens. And our South Carolina State House reporter Mary Green is here to provide a deeper dive into how the process works, despite South Carolina not having a state hate crime law.
Next Tuesday, a trial is scheduled to begin here at the federal courthouse in Columbia for the 2019 murder of a transgender woman named Wrdw in Allendale County. The defendant faces multiple federal charges, including a hate crime in Doe's murder. The U.S. Attorney for the District of South Carolina says this is just one example that shows that while South Carolina lacks a state hate crimes law, these crimes don't go unprosecuted here.
It's a really high priority for us. Because we're the only ones here that can do this job. And so it has been a priority since I came into the office, and we are working really hard to increase reporting to make sure we are doing all that we can to protect communities in our state.
In South Carolina, the U.S. Attorney's Office, led by U.S. Attorney Adair Ford Burroughs, is the only agency that prosecutes hate crimes, and the FBI is the only agency that investigates them. That's because there are multiple federal hate crime statutes in place, despite there not being one at the state level. But investigating and prosecuting these crimes does require help at the local level. The FBI leads a class in Columbia focused on hate crime awareness for law enforcement officers. It gives them more background on what might constitute a federal hate crime so they can keep it in mind in their investigations and flag the FBI.
If there's some kind of bias that motivates it could be a hate crime, and we explain those things to give them that awareness, and then so they can understand that we're out here, we take it seriously, and they can reach out to us to report those kind of events.
The U.S. Attorney's Office also encourages South Carolinians to report directly to the FBI of suspected hate crimes and incidents. Reporting Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
And one of the arguments that opponents of passing a state hate crimes law in South Carolina make is that it's unnecessary with those federal statutes already in place. But again, that means only the U.S. Attorney's Office can prosecute them and only the FBI can investigate.
Now, supporters of passing this legislation say a state statute would allow more resources to go toward investigation and prosecution. For example, from solicitors and the Attorney General's office.
Thompson Mayor Benji Cranford ran his campaign with messages saying he was a successful businessman and someone that could get things done in Thompson.
But the new mayor is also facing a lawsuit and legal issues surrounding his business. News 12 spoke with Mayor Cranford this week. Our Hallie Turner joins us now live in the newsroom. And Hallie, you talked to Cranford. What did he say?
Yeah, Mayor, he told me his lawsuit isn't a lawsuit anymore. He said it's been settled. At last check, court documents do not show a settlement has been reached. It shows the last time there was any movement was back in November. After numerous tries of talking with the mayor to ask him about the lawsuit, he finally sat down with us Thursday. But he didn't want to answer any of the questions surrounding the lawsuit.
Yes, ma'am.
If you've talked to them, you should be able to talk to News 12.
I ain't saying no more. I'm good. I ain't in no lawsuit. It's settled.
Now, Cranford's attorney, John Bell, says the settlement is a long process and they're keeping everything confidential until it's complete. But anyone who knows Benji Cranford knows he's a man who is not one of few words. We'll have the full story tonight right here on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Hallie. We look forward to hearing more of that interview tonight at 6 o'clock. We know he has much more to say.
An Augusta man wanted in connection to a bank robbery in Rennes has been arrested nearly 2 weeks after it happened. Officials say 53-year-old Eddie Garnett was arrested at a motel by the U.S. Marshal's Office and FBI yesterday. That robbery took place on February 1st at the Regions Bank. Now, there were no weapons involved in the robbery, and Garnett has been charged with robbery by intimidation. A pedestrian is in the hospital with severe injuries after getting hit on Deansbridge Road last night. Originally, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office said the pedestrian was dead at the scene of the crash, but corrected that earlier this morning. Deputies responded just before 8:30, saying that the vehicle hit the pedestrian crossing the intersection.
The Richmond County Sheriff's Office arrested another deputy involved in the jail incident we told you about earlier this week. Documents say former Corporal Daniel DeVersa was arrested in connection to the use of force incident and charged on Monday. He was also charged right along with Deputy Dantavian Jones with violation of oath by a public officer. The Monday arrest comes a year after DeVersa was reassigned off the road patrol unit. And that's because we're told he was under investigation for a suspected driving under the influence incident back in 2023. Nikki Haley and former President Donald Trump have crisscrossed the Palmetto State, getting ready for the Republican primary election that is taking place February 24th. It's soon, next Saturday. Early voting in South Carolina continues through February 22nd, next Thursday, though locations will be closed on Sunday and President's Day on Monday. Voting is open in all South Carolina counties at the County Board of Voter Registration Elections Office. This is important. It's not your regular voting precinct. Early voting centers are open from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the early voting periods. This is an open election, so it does not matter if you are a registered Republican or a registered Democrat. You can vote in this as long as you did not vote in the Democratic primary earlier this month. There's been more progress made by Augusta University students. It is now the third week that they have been painting this mural. You can check it out. The students helped come up with the design after months of planning. It is just off 11th and Reynolds. They are hoping to finish it this weekend, but looking pretty good.
Yeah, they want a lot of people out there to take pictures in front of it as well. But we have a great one-on-one from Richard Rogers coming up this weekend, as he has a guest that was a real astronaut, Susan Still Kilrain. That interview will air in its entirety tomorrow morning, but if you want to meet her yourself, Kilrain is a local legend, and her husband is also pretty cool. She will be at the Augusta Museum of History tomorrow from 10 to noon reading her book, and of course, it's free to attend. A great event there. Great opportunity. Well, it's been a long life for a Georgia woman. We take you to the life, or we show you the life of this 107-year-old woman in just a moment, Riley.
Well, it looks like our warm streak is coming to an end for the weekend. We'll take a look at some cooler temps on the way just after the break.
Time and temp. Call me right now.
Come on in to Davis Appliance and Furniture, where you can find the best deals in town. It's tax time, so when that refund comes in, it's the perfect time to get the furniture you've always wanted. For the brands you trust at the lowest prices, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
I'm attorney.
Come on in to Davis Appliance and Furniture, where you can find the best deals in town. It's tax time, so when that refund comes in, it's the perfect time to get the appliances you've always wanted. For the brands you trust at the lowest prices, visit us at Davis Appliance and Furniture.
Welcome back to live.
Just a little bit. Here's that 7-day forecast for you. So heading into President's Day, we do get back seasonal highs in the 60s and then close to 70 by next Thursday.
Well, this just in, live at 5, as the one-year anniversary of his death approaches, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division says Javier DeVoe's murder case remains unsolved. He was 20 years old when he was found shot to death February 18th in 2023 at a mobile home in Allendale, South Carolina. SLED is asking anyone with information to come forward, and a $1,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in the case is available from Crime Stoppers.
Could you imagine living to be 100 years old? Okay, what about being 107?
Absolutely not. But a woman in Marietta, Georgia celebrated that landmark. Sawyer Bussey caught up with her to hear more about her long, long life.
I think it's hard to understand where the years have gone. and that anyone can actually live this long and be able to enjoy life the way life is.
You might have an idea in your head of what 107 must be like. Lillian is here to set the record straight. We're at Sterling Estates, a senior living community in Marietta. Lillian is swimming this morning at the pool. She loves the pool. She recently fell and broke her hip. She's doing some exercises to continue her healing process.
3 or 4 surgeries, all of which were could have been fatal, and I survived them. And the last was colon cancer. So apparently I'm a survivor.
Her friends are ready to celebrate her.
Today we have a Lillian-themed art class. Everything is from 1917.
Lillian was born in New Jersey.
We got through the Depression like everybody else, which was poor. Got through the war, which was everybody else was in that too. And that's when I got married.
It's easy to converse with Lillian. Her memory is sharp, her jokes are funny. She's mobile. The secret to her long life?
Well, I used to say chocolate candy. I don't say that anymore. I just say that I've done my part in trying to stay healthy.
Lillian is not the only centenarian here. There's a woman named Joyce. She's going to turn 104 at the end of February. In Marietta, Sawyer Bussey, Atlanta News First.
I am so impressed by her. I mean, first of all, if I make it to 80. Second of all, if I'm anything like her at 80, I will be happy.
Absolutely.
But 107?
Up and moving around in the pool, surviving multiple surgeries, colon cancer as well. That's incredible right there.
Amazing. The oldest woman currently alive, by the way, living in the United States, is Edie Cesarelli. Get this, 116 years old.
Yeah, her birthday was actually February 5th, and she was born in 1908.
Unreal.
Incredible stories there. But stick with us. We'll have much more incredible stories coming up after a short break here on Live at 5.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
If you can't see her to help, call all nines.
Hey, it's Anna Christina. President's Day is here, and it's one of the biggest days of the year at Jimmy's Home Furnishings. Come shop the biggest names in mattresses like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Sealy. We're offering free delivery on all mattress purchases. Also, take advantage of up to 40% off select clearance items store-wide, as well as 60-month interest-free financing. Here in Grovetown, located just 2 miles from exit 190. Jimmy's Home Furnishings, where it feels like home.
For you.
Now that's the strong arm. Call attorney John Foy and Associates right now.
It's a wonderful feeling to splurge on the things that make your loved ones smile when a special holiday or a special event on the calendar comes up. Some of us just purchase special gifts for Valentine's Day as we are realizing the financial aftermath of Christmas. Yeah, it's still pretty devastating, you know, that we have this on our credit card bills.
Yeah, we're still building that back up there.
Yeah, so it hurts our credit rating too when we overspend on our loved ones.
Splurging. But Dawn G joins us to help us make ends meet after the holidays are over, but the bills are not.
It's easy to get caught up in the joy of giving, but that old saying, give until it hurts, really hurts when it's time to pay that money back and you just don't have the cash.
As the year of 2024 is rolling on, holiday bills of 2023 are rolling in.
The people that were surveyed said that they expect to still be paying their holiday debt between 6 and 12 months from today. So they'll still be paying their holiday bills from this year, next year. That's the situation you don't want to be in.
Ron Griffin is Senior Director of Public Education and Advocacy for Experian, a multinational data analytics consumer credit reporting company.
It's really easy to swipe a credit card, make that purchase, and then forget about it until the bill comes the next month.
Griffin wants consumers to know it is possible to plug their financial leaks and keep their boat afloat for smooth sailing in the new year.
What you want to do to have better credit scores, to have a stronger credit history, is to reduce first and foremost, your credit card balances.
That lowers your credit utilization rate. Your credit utilization rate is the percentage of available credit that you're using on your credit cards and other lines of credit. The lower your utilization rate, the better your credit scores because it shows you aren't using up all of your credit and not paying it back.
The goal when it comes to managing your credit and your finances this year, there's several things you have to do. You need a budget so that you know where your money's coming from, where it's going to. You need to get your credit report, know what's there. That will tell you where your debts are and what you need to work on. And then reduce those credit card bills, put together a plan to pay them down over time. In order to pay down those debts, you have to pay more than the minimum due on those cards.
If you are feeling the post-holiday buyer's blues, you are not alone. But you need to know your predicament can be fixed.
Credit isn't free money. There's always costs associated with it. People look at your credit report and they see it as a credit history, which it is, but it's not permanent. It's not like the history books in school that they're written down and you can't change them. Your credit history you can change and you can make it better.
A side hustle could help pay off that debt. You can also try a balance transfer card. You can move your credit card debt from a credit card with high interest to a new card for interest-free payments for a set period, often anywhere from 12 to 21 months. Research to get the right card and work to get the debt paid off in the 0% time period. Know that applying for the card is a hard inquiry on your credit. Last, prepare for the next year. Well, this year. Create that holiday budget early, helping you make ends meet. I'm Dolan G.
We're standing up. Protein or biotin in reloaded systems. Up to 72 hours stress control, 48 hours definition, or 72 hours thicker looking hair. Fructis by Garnier, naturally. Hey, it's Anna Christina. President's Day is here, and it's one of the biggest days of the year at Jimmy's Home Furnishings. Come shop the biggest names in mattresses like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Sealy. We're offering free delivery on all mattress purchases. Also, take advantage of up to 40% off select clearance items store-wide, as well as 60-month interest-free financing. Here in Grovetown, located just 2 miles from exit 190. Jimmy's Home Furnishings, where it feels like home.
Start the new year in Smith Limited. You're watching News 12 live at 5. Continues.
Live at 5, the trial to possibly disqualify Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis from Georgia's election interference trial continued today. We will hear how day 2 of the trial went in just a few minutes.
The remains of baby Jada Hickman are still missing. We first introduced her story to you a month ago. She died in 2001. And her parents buried her at Hillcrest Memorial Park.
More than 20 years later, they decided to cremate her and exhume her body. Her parents still do not have her remains. Sydney Hood joins us live in the newsroom and has been following this story for us. Sydney.
Well, when we first introduced Jada's parents and their story a month ago, this right here was the only response they had from the cemetery. It says, quote, "Due to the passage of time, we were unable to recover the remains of your daughter." Now, this email right here is from October, and they tell me it's still the only response they have. Her parents say they've gone to the cemetery, the funeral home, the mayor's office, and the sheriff's office trying to find answers. We went to the state cemetery board to see if they were even aware of this. The board is under the Secretary of State's office, and they say they do have an open investigation under their investigations division. There's also a police report on file with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. But as for answers here, Jada's parents say they really don't have any more.
We didn't want this to happen, you know what I'm saying? But it feels like, did we bring this on ourselves? You know what I mean? Is this something that we could have avoided? And I don't think that we should be having feelings like that.
I think the whole process for Jada's, funeral and burial is in question. And I think that both companies or organizations need to answer to that.
Those answers these parents are so desperate for are slim to none, they say. But on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we'll look at how cemeteries are inspected and what accountability is there.
Still so mmany questions here, and hopefully that family can get some answers soon. Thank you, Sydney. Of course, we will look forward to hearing more in just a little bit.
To weather now, and the pollen could...
Tonight, most likely staying with lows in the low 50s. Have a look at some cooler temperatures, though, in that full forecast. Let's get a quick update now, though, on your first alert.
Richmond County Sheriff's Office is searching for a 21-year-old suspect in connection to an aggravated assault. Xavier Ray is wanted for the suspected assault that happened near a home on Carmel Circle near Golden Harvest Food Bank off of Gordon Highway. He is considered armed and dangerous. Officials say Ray is described as 6 feet tall at around 140 pounds. Anyone with information can call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. New testimony today in Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis's disqualification hearing.
This hearing is to determine if Willis will stay on the historic election indictment in light of her relationship with one of her top prosecutors. Abby Kasoris breaks down the big revelations in court today.
Some analysts equate what's happening in court to a circus trying to detract from the larger election interference case. DA Fonnie Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade maintain they did nothing wrong and should remain on the case against former President Donald Trump. The people that know them best, friends, family, and colleagues on the stand today.
January 5th, 2024. We had a text exchange.
Personal texts and emails revealed between an attorney on the case, Ashley Merchant, and Wade's former law partner, Terrence Bradley.
A text message from you saying, "Oh my God, Nathan took Fonnie on a trip to Napa and paid for it with his firm."
Okay, continue reading.
And you said, "Is he that dumb?" And I said, "Wow, I'm on a plane from Dubai, land at 3. We'll call you as soon as I land."
And then you told me that you weren't surprised because they took many trips to Florida, Texas, and California.
Bradley's testimony limited because of attorney-client privilege protections. Bradley represents Wade in his divorce case.
That you received from Mr. Wade pursuant to confidential communications.
Yes.
John Floyd, Willis's father, says he found out his daughter had a romantic relationship with Wade about 7 weeks ago.
I just found out when other folks found out.
Floyd testified that he didn't know about the relationship, but did know about threats Willis faced that forced her to leave her home. Heads turning when Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens walked into the room. The mayor listening to former Governor Roy Barnes' testimony. Barnes says he turned down the DA's offer to work on the case, saying he didn't want to live with bodyguards for the rest of his life.
To which I replied that I had mouths to feed at a law office and that I would not do that.
Analysts say the goal of the hearing may be to try to push off the Fulton County election interference case. They're expecting appeals and additional filings for an extension. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasoris.
Ahead of President's Day, when most kids are going to be out of school for the holiday, the Columbia County Parks and Rec Department says Evanstown Center Park will be closed on Monday for part of the day. It is set to be closed for maintenance from 6 in the morning until noon. All parking lots will be closed as well, and the main playground area will be closed for maintenance all day. We're told it will reopen Tuesday as normal. Horizon Motor Coaches making sure their health is intact today at its second annual health fair. They are the ones who provide transportation for AU. AU faculty and nursing students administered health exams today. Those exams are similar to the required ones drivers get every 2 years. The CEO of Horizon Motor Coach talks about why this event is so important to its drivers.
We know that many drivers are not eating healthy on the road. They tend to eat at fast food restaurants. And we think that this training means a lot to them because we share with them how they can better eat when they're out on the highway. We share with them also many ways of how they can exercise when the bus is sitting.
I mean, I think I could learn something from that for sure. Last year's findings were obesity, hypertension, and several other medical issues. But hey, teaching healthy habits, that's always a good idea.
That's good thinking.
Yeah.
Well, this week we have been celebrating the 70th anniversary of WRDW, and we celebrate 70 years of weather and the use of radar. Coming up next, Riley, we're highlighting you guys.
Hey, it was really cool to look back through some of those old clips, and Mr. Mikkel Hannah Harding behind me just finished wrapping that up. So looking forward to seeing that next, and we'll have also a look at that forecast for you just after the break.
From the Department of Public Safety to Golden Harvest, all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're looking at how the community is coming together to feed those in need in Aiken.
SFA Fund Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We have celebrated our 70th anniversary at WRDW this week with a call-in contest that continues at 6 o'clock. We heard incredible stories, and now we're celebrating a team that saves lives.
Radar is something that has been used on television broadcasts since the 1960s and has helped save countless lives. Here's a look back on how radar has changed on News 12 over the years.
Doppler radar was used in the early years, which would show basic radar and velocity. Doppler radar was a breakthrough at the time and a critical tool used on television from the 60s through the 90s.
Lightning and gusty winds and some very heavy rain. Take a look at it on the satellite and the radar combined. A cluster of storms working through the area.
Velocity scans gave meteorologists the ability to detect rotating thunderstorms and severe winds, allowing warnings to be issued ahead of the storm. It was not until the early 2000s we would get dual pole radar.
We've got some showers weakening up across parts of eastern South Carolina. It's going to be a relatively dry night here across the CSR rig.
Dual pole radar is what we currently use today. The dual in the name comes from the horizontally and vertically polarized radar beam. Having a horizontal and vertical scan gave us the new ability to measure the size and shape of objects in the sky and effectively see a tornadic debris signature. Dual pole also improved locating hail and thunderstorms and the size of hailstones. The worst of this storm, so that's your hail core. We recently also gained access to a new X-band radar in February 2023. This radar is located on top of the Harlem Water Tower in Columbia County and is much smaller than the traditional S-band radars from the National Weather Service. Even though it looks small, it still has dual pole capabilities and helps fill a radar gap in the central and northern CSRA.
And that's the benefits of having this lower scan. We get a better idea of what's happening a little bit closer down towards the surface.
This new radar site gives us access to the lowest scans of storms as they approach our most populated areas.
We have been able to get a better look at what appears to be a hook-like structure with this storm, which is a classic indication of the potential for some rotation.
It's just crazy to see how things have changed over the years. And I think one prime example of how radar has changed is we saw that with Bamberg with that tornado that happened not too long ago as well.
Yeah, and then a year before that, Riley, you were able to utilize that technology and tell people to get to a safe place before you would have been able to say that before.
Oh yeah, radar's definitely come a long way over the decades, and
it's crazy to see how things have changed over the years. And I think one prime example of how radar has changed is we saw that with Bamberg with that tornado that happened not too long ago as well.
Yeah, and then a year before that, Riley, you were able to utilize that technology and tell people to get to a safe place before you would have been able to say that before.
Oh yeah, radar's definitely come a long way over the decades, and it definitely helps save lives. It gives us that lead time to help give people that time to prepare for storms heading their way, and definitely a tool we use a lot here around these parts. And I have to mention that unfortunately you didn't get to see former Chief Meteorologist Bob Smith in that segment. We unfortunately just couldn't find a lot of clips of him in front of a radar. We had a lot of clips of him in the studio, but I want to make sure Bob does get some love. He obviously was a longtime chief with our station, and I wish we could have found some good clips of him tracking those storms for us. But we do have cloudy skies out there.
Have you started working on your taxes yet? It's a confusing mess, isn't it? I'm Jamie Tucker, coming up with some tech that could save you a lot of time and maybe a lot of money the next time you're having to do this.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group. We all have a friend who loves boo.
The tax deadline is not for a couple of months now, but you might be getting started organizing all of the paperwork that you saved last year. Receipts, mileage, donations, all of that can add up to a lot of deductions if you take those deductions, or of course if you have a record of those deductions.
As our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker explains, tech makes it easier to be organized if you get started now.
What the Tech, sponsored by Augusta Preparatory Day School.
Do you still save paper receipts and keep track of other tax deductions by writing them down? It can take days to compile all of that and get it organized, but there is a better way, and all you might need is your smartphone. There are plenty of apps to snap receipts. Most work like the app Simply Wise. You frame up a receipt like you're taking a photo, but the app scans it and extracts the important details. The receipts and totals are saved in the app for later. Simply Wise can also connect to your Amazon account to keep track of those purchases. And at the end of the year, you just share the report with your tax preparer. If you pay for Evernote, you can download the app Scannable to save receipts as PDFs and then organize them within Evernote folders. You can also do this using the free Apple and Android apps, Apple Notes and Google Keep. You'll just need to set up a few folders and save snapshots or scans as you get them. You can organize them using hashtags in a 2024 tax folder. You'll still need to total everything up yourself, but you won't have cluttered paperwork to sort through. If you drive your car for work, you can deduct 67 cents a mile when you file taxes next year. Mile IQ is an app that detects when you're driving, so you don't have to remember to open it. It'll also log mileage as personal or business. And then next year, when you're working on taxes, Mile IQ will generate a report for the IRS with information on every drive. Now, Mile IQ, Evernote, and Simply Wise are not free apps. You'll have to pay for those, but you may be able to write them off. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
This year's federal tax deadline is Monday, April 15th. The IRS says taxpayers who file their taxes electronically can expect refunds within 21 days.
We've got a full slate of high school basketball action tonight across the two-state. News 12 Sports Director Dan Booth joins us now to help us get ready for what should be a wild night on the court. Dan.
Between the second round of the South Carolina playoffs and multiple region championships on the line in Georgia, tonight's like tonight are what athletes dream of. Now, here's a look at our South Carolina teams who are playing in the second round tonight. In Class 4A, the defending state champion North Augusta Lady Jackets are at home taking on Greer. For the 2A boys, Fox Creek has Landrum at home, and Strom Thurmond is on the road at Greer Middle. Then the girls teams from McCormick, Denmark Olar, Allendale Fairfax, and Bamberg Earhart are all in action tonight as well. With their victory in the first round, the Silver Bluff girls basketball team extended their winning streak to 20 games. This means that the Lady Bulldogs have not lost in 2.5 months. Head coach Chasen Red has been telling me all season long that this year's team is special, and he's not lying.
They've answered the bell every game. We treat every game like a playoff game. So when you do that, that's the reason for your 19 to 20 games. I mean, I try to tell them something different, something, tough to motivate them every game.
The Lady Bulldogs will look to bring that winning streak to 21 games when they take on Blacksburg in the second round tomorrow. The opening tip is set for 3 o'clock at the Bluff. We've got 5 region championships on the line tonight in Georgia. We'll have live coverage from Josie High School ahead of the Class 2A Region 4 title games on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Now, after making his official return to competitive golf yesterday, within the last hour, Tiger Woods has withdrawn from the Genesis Invitational. According to PGA Tour Communications, the 5-time Masters champ withdrew due to illness. Tiger finished round 1 with a 1/72, bogeying 3 out of his last 4 holes. He ended his run in the second round on hole number 7. That's it for sports. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Don't miss Ashley's President's Day sale. Now through Monday, save up to 50% off doorbusters and save up to 25% off store-wide. Plus, get up to 5 years interest-free with no minimum purchase and no down payment. In-store only. Only at Ashley.
Every Georgian does
About the seasonal special.
We can safely remove any tree, anywhere. Guaranteed.
To learn more, visit southerngrindstumpandtree.com.
Don't snooze on Ashley's President's Day mattress sale. Get 60% off Sealy mattresses and save on adjustable mattress sets from top brands. Plus, receive $300 in Ashley cash with a premium mattress purchase. Sale ends Monday. Only at Ashley.
The legendary Beatles singer and songwriter Paul McCartney finally reunited with the instrument that played a major role in the group's success. McCartney's bass guitar got stolen more than 50 years ago. The Hofner brass was used on the Beatles' first 2 albums, which included hits like Twist and Shout and Love Me Do. It was returned to him by the son of the man who stole it, who says he did not know it was stolen. The guitar is damaged a little, but can be fully restored.
What are the chances of that? That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And you know what? It is never too late to do the right thing.
That is right.
But he didn't know it was stolen.
So the Sun says.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But it doesn't matter. It's back.
But he made up for his dad's mistake, and I'm sure he was forgiven.
Did they say, I may have missed this, but did they say how they misplaced the guitar initially?
It was stolen.
So they did say the dad stole it, but then the son didn't know.
Right, he said the son claims he didn't know that his dad stole it. But anyway, he made it right.
I bet he doc teams on it.
Yeah. They found it out. There we go. Hey, we got cloudy skies out there for the rest of tonight. If you're stepping out this evening, we are going to stay dry. Temperatures not feeling too bad. We're in the 60s still, and most likely only going to drop through the 50s the rest of tonight. So going to stay pretty mild. Rain-free for most spots. We are looking at a cloudy and cooler outlook for the weekend. Highs should be in the 50s the next few afternoons.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break on News 12 at 6 o'clock.